Hi, this is System Player Lost here with the League Starter Righteous Fire Juggernaut leveling guide. Now, I created this guide because I really wanted to play Righteous Fire and I wanted to play it as a League Start character. And I just couldn't find any resources available which helped me level as the skill that I wanted to play with in the endgame. All of the guides out there, they're saying you have to level with unique items, you have to level as Sunder or another melee skill into level 60 or more, and then spend a lot of respec and regret points to get to your final build. So what I did is I worked with my good friend Viperesque and took some resources from RF God Isla and created this kind of League Start methodology for Marauder Righteous Fire. So I leveled as RF from level 36 at the start of the Incursion League, and it was great. It was really enjoyable, really fun leveling. So here's the text guide that I've put out on the Path of Exile forums, and I'll link to this in the video description as well. And so what I've got for you today is a video guide. I've prepared a character, level 36, ready to go. We're going to switch to RF in solo self-found, so it's completely without any trading. I've just found all of these items myself in this run, and then we're gonna go through a couple of zones as RF, and I'll show you how it all works. So we've got some resources here if you're interested to find out more about what Life RF is as a final build. You can find that out here. Then we've got the Path of Building link as well. So I've created a Path of Building here for you, which goes through all of the different trees you need for the leveling process. So we start by scaling Sunder and melee skills for the first 35 levels, and then we've got a respec tree where we turn into RF, and then there's some more progression trees as well. So what we're going to start by talking about is this pre-respec tree. So what you want to do is level as any melee skill. I suggest Ground Slam into Sunder. We're going to scale up this melee physical damage and attack speed. We're going to go over Get Some Life. And then after that, we kind of stop scaling melee, and we get the stuff that we need for RF. So the kind of key points that we're going to be switching into are the life recovery from flasks and life over here at Profane Chemistry. And then once we do a respec, we're going to go all the way up here and take an additional curse from Whispers of Doom. Before we get into that though, if we just go into the guide, we've got the detailed leveling guide and the summary or TLDR. Now if you're pretty familiar with Path of Exile, maybe you've played quite a few characters before, you understand the leveling process pretty well, and maybe you've played an RF character before, just go through the summary TLDR, maybe you watch this video, you'll figure it out, no problems. If you're not as familiar with the leveling process or with RF, please just go through the detailed leveling guide. It's everything you need to know to switch over using Righteous Fire at level 36. So what we're at now, I've gone through all of these parts, and I'm ready to switch to RF. So now in here, I've got the kind of list of prerequisites that we need to have completed, and then we're going to jump into my character right now. We're going to go through the switch, and then play some Righteous Fire at level 36. So this is my RF demo character, level 36 in SSF Incursion League. Now I'm in just SSF Incursion to completely prove that this is a solo character. There's no need for trading or any kind of previous items or uniques. So here we are, level 36, and you can see I've been leveling as a melee character. Yeah, so I've got some Viz damage, added damage to attacks, and so on. So what we have prepared over here is our gear for the switch. Now what you'll see is most important, if I just switch back over here to our preparation screen, we need to have the following links. So triple blue red, that's for our Righteous Fire, blue blue green, red red green, blue blue red, and then a blue aura red. So I've satisfied all of those sockets in my gear, and you should be able to pretty easily find those yourself. There's no big deal if you need to spend a couple of chromatic orbs to correctly color your links. As you'll see, my chest is an ES evasion base, so I need to spend some chromatics, is no problem. So, complete through Sacred Ground. So this quest you usually wouldn't complete. It gives you passive respec points, but we need the 2 extra respec points to respec the character. So this is just after the Crypt Trial in Act 2, and you just go down to that 2nd level, kill a monster, collect a quest item, and trade it in for a book of respec. We need to do a Fixture of Fate as the Siosa quest in the library. That gives us the gems that we need, so we've completed that as well. Normal Labyrinth for Unbreakable, so now I've done Normal Labyrinth, I've ascended to Juggernaut, but we need to take Unbreakable. We've done all of the skill points up into and including Indomitable Spirit, so that's about making sure we have enough skill points for the tree, as well as Indomitable Spirit gives us some respec points as well. So then we're just going to check our before respec 6 regrets tree. So that's in our Path of Building, so jump over into Path of Building. This is our tree that we need to be at right now before we respec, so we'll just jump back into PoE, check out our passive tree, and yeah, so we've got this tree completed, yeah, before our respec. We've got 6 refund points available, 2 ascendancy points left. It's exactly what we need. Jumping back over here. We need a full set of gear, which gives us a total of 75% or more fire resistance. Now, I can't stress this enough. You absolutely must have capped fire resistance when playing Righteous Fire, especially at low levels. You'll degen too fast and just die. Then we need a scepter and a shield. Now, I recommend a scepter because it gives some elemental damage, although you can use any melee damage, any melee weapon, one-handed weapon that has attack speed. I think a scepter is the best for this. You don't have to go super fast with the build, as you're not actually stopping to kill any monsters, they just die around you. And then we need a shield for shield charge. Other resistances are nice to have, but as you see with my gear, I don't quite have capped lightning resist. You know, it's not the end of the world. 3 sacred life flasks are really important. This is how we're going to sustain our RF. If you're lucky, and I was a bit lucky, I found a ruby flask as well. That will also help with a sustain, so if you want, you can swap out one of your life flasks for a ruby flask. And finally, no added fire to attacks or spells on your gear. So that's about elemental equilibrium, and if we hit our enemies with fire damage outside of our RF, they're going to get fire resistance. So we don't want that. You absolutely must not have any added fire to attacks or spells. However, added cold or lightning to attacks is a plus, because that's going to apply elemental equilibrium through our shield charge, and we don't need to use Orb of Storms. So, as I said before, just spend those chromatics, spend alchemies and augments. It's okay to just get your gear up at this point, because from here, we're not going to do too much changing of our gear, at least until Act 6. If we don't meet these requirements, just continue in our main storyline. It's no problem if you don't have exactly all of your gear ready to go at level 36. You might, you know, right now I'm just before Kalman Dureso. You might want to continue to kill Kalman Dureso, continue on, maybe finish Act 4 before you have everything set up. That's no problem. Just do the switch once you've got all of the requirements. This is a bit of a technical implementation that we have here, so it's important that you have you know, all of these basic level requirements completed before we do that. So, we've got the requirements completed, and now we need to equip our gear and set up our flasks. So we're going to do that now. So, bye-bye old gear, and hello fancy new gear. I'm just going to put this over here. And I'll go over my gear for you quickly once we've got it all equipped, but we don't need any of this old stuff anymore. Maybe 1 or 2 of the skill gems, but we'll look at skill gems later. I think we keep this amulet. So for the old gear, just people that aren't so familiar with leveling with melee skills asunder, you want 2 melee weapons. Dual wielding gives you a lot of bonuses, And then you want this increased physical damage roll on your main hand weapon, or kind of added flat fizz and stuff like that. I recommend using the rustic sash recipe if you can't find one of these. It's what I did here. I should have added another mod, but that's no big deal. And just white pieces is not the worst here. If they give you the links that you need, and then some life and resistances. I didn't actually find move speed boots until quite late on in the run, that I just didn't switch onto them. So no move speed boots, no problem. And then we just don't need these flasks anymore either. So we're going to swap out these flasks, but we do want to keep our Quicksilver flasks. So we're going to pop our new gear on. I'm not going to lie, I've got pretty nice gear here. I got quite lucky with finding the items. You don't need to have gear anywhere near as good as this. So I've got a blue-green scepter. Now the most important thing here, guys, is the sockets and the colors, yeah? I got lucky, I got flat added lightning and burning damage. Even just a white blue-green scepter here is totally fine. I'm using white gloves, now I actually need to find better gloves. This is just for a red socket I need. We've got some resistance rings. You see just blue rings, doesn't matter, some resists. My amulet is just for dexterity and some attributes. It doesn't really do much else there. I'd probably need to upgrade that soon. This is a helmet that I just found. I use an alchemy, and we got lucky with some resists. This chest, again, I just found it 4-linked, and we used an alchemy on it. This is just a belt with resists and some flask life recovery. And I did get lucky with those 20% move speed boots. And then, yeah, here we've just got a shield with some resists as well. So pretty basic gear. We're looking for life, resists, and most importantly, those socket colors. So, heading back over to the guide. We need to have 2 Sacreds and a Ruby, or 3 Sacreds, and our 2 Quicksilvers. So I don't actually have any Sacred Flasks, but what you can do is sell 3 Colossal Flasks to a vendor, and they'll give you that Sacred Flask. So I'm just going to go over and do that here quickly. And we have our 2 Sacred Life Flasks. They're already equipped for us, and our Ruby Flask. Wonderful. So I'm just going to set up my flasks like this. Not for any particular reason, I just like having my move speed flask on 2, and any other flasks kind of linked to it. So we're going to be pressing 1, 2, 3 very often, and 3, 4, 5 very often as well. We want to have these flasks running most of the time. So we've got our gear on, and we'll just do a quick check. So press C to look at my character here, looking at defenses. I've got that 75 fire resistance and a little bit more, it's kind of nice. And I've got 75 cold resistance, which again is quite nice. 40 lightning, it's not the end of the world, but we might be taking a little bit of damage to lightning mobs. So, what do we have next to do? We need our skill gems. So right, at this point, I haven't bought any of these skill gems, so we're just going to go through the process that you would be doing and pick all of these up. So most of these you can get from Ciosa, but some of them you'll need to go back to the previous towns. It's just a little bit more efficient because you get leveled versions of the gems. If you just want to go to one place and shop, that's not the end of the world either. So we've got our Righteous Fire gem here, and a faster attacks gem. See, I got a slightly leveled up version. Faster attacks goes over here. What else do we need? Nothing else from here. Now we're just going to go to Act 1. Then after Act 1... Oh, no. After Act 1 we can go to... we can go to Ciosa to grab the remaining gems.
Hello.
So our old friend Nessa, we need a shield charge gem. We need a decoy totem gem. I think one of these is decoy totem. There we go, decoy totem, and this is what I need the red socket in my gloves for. And then we're looking for a flame dash gem. she doesn't sell. That's okay. Everything else we can just very happily buy over at Siosa. I think maybe we can go to Act 3 and get a flammability, actually. Let's just do that quickly. Hello, Clarissa.
What is it?
She'll give us a flammability. Yep, perfect. So flammability goes in here. So you see I've just got my currency with me here. And that should be perfect to go to Act 3 at the library. And that is going to get us gems from Siosa. So I've got my golden pages reward. Haven't picked that up yet, but we want this fortify. And then we need to purchase items. So we're looking for mostly blue gems here. Orb of Storms. Increase critical strikes. Concentrated effects. What's the other? Elemental focus. I don't have enough alterations with me. That was not very well planned. Yeah, let's grab this other stack of bolts. So we need to get here Poacher's Mark, Flammability, Blasphemy, and then we're done. Perfect.
May reason present.
So this is our Elemental Focus gem. We're looking for burning damage. And this is our main Righteous Fire 4-link for the time being. Then we also need Blasphemy. So Blasphemy gem. Poacher's Mark, which allows us to get more flask charges. So this is an integral part of the build, is the flask charge generation from Poacher's Mark. And then we've got Flame Dash. Flame Dash is just nice quality of life. Allows us to get over walls.
Let's speak again.
So, we've got our character just about ready to go. The final thing we need to do, if we just head back to the guide, is using our passive respec points and making sure that we've got this unbreakable point from normal labyrinth. So what we need to do here is refund our passives. So any of the melee physical stuff that we got early on and this life node, we'll be picking this life node up back up at the end of the build. But for the time being, we need that point to be able to go and take our extra curse. So we apply these refunds and we walk up here to Whispers of Doom. So 2 curses allows us to have both Flammability and Poacher's Mark active, and they're critical for our build success. So we're just going to go over and take Unbreakable, and now we're pretty much ready to go. I'm going to quickly arrange these skills on my bar as to how I like them. We may as well turn on our Poacher's Mark and our Flammability. I like having Righteous Fire over here. Now with new Vol Righteous Fire, you can use that if you're lucky enough to have one. However, you may find that you will get a little bit low by using it. Our Flask Sustain should only be just enough. So before we get going though, I need to put on my Divine Righteous Fire MTX, just because it's the best Righteous Fire MTX. So, Act 4, let's do Calm's Stronghold. So you notice I'm going to switch on my RF here, and I'm going to be losing life. That's no big deal because we can just pop our flask, and you see we just need to make sure we always have one of these life flasks going, and we'll be able to regen through those flasks while we've got RF active. So you do need to be killing stuff. As you see, we're not really killing stuff, but when we are killing things, there we go. We get our flasks coming back, and you see it's fairly forgiving. I'm forgetting about my life flasks quite often here, but that's okay. It's no big deal. Just going to go through the zone, making sure to always have our ruby, life, and movement speed flasks up. And we're just very happily shield charging through. Oh, I don't have a life flask going. Here we go. You can see here, we're getting experience, we're moving, shield charging into walls. And it's just a very relaxed leveling process for us from here. Oh. Just need to make sure to always have one of these life flasks running. That's the most important thing. You know, I find it useful to put a timer on your head for exactly how long the life flask is going to be going for, but you know, I'm not the best at this game, so I often forget to do that. You can see what's really great about this setup is we're using RF. It's our endgame setup, or our endgame ability, and we're just running through the content here. Very easily able to sustain our character. Hello, Calm. Make sure you're shield charging, Calm. And if you run out of life flasks, you just want to drop a portal. Make sure to always have a couple of portal scrolls in the case that you do need to portal out of fights before the ad phase starts. So very happily, we're going to start the fight again. I'm going to make sure to pop my 3 flasks. Oh, getting a bit low here. And very easy. Life flask always running. Life flask always running. Making sure we're using our shield charge. And you can see we're getting quite a lot of those flask charges back. No worries. We'll grab this Eye of Fury. Oh, I forgot the Eye of Fury. Anyway, so that's RF, everyone. Again, just optimize your gear. It may be a little bit, you know, more flask management than you're used to, but it's really great. You just run through the content, you pop your flasks, and it's just a really chill time. So thanks for watching the video. We've got the guide, the text guide as well, and then let me know in the forums or the comments here if you have any questions. Cheers.